Hey, it's Paul from howtoplaybase.com. Got a quick lesson for you. Fourth in our mini-series of Gary Talent, Bruce Springsteen bass lines. Today it's Cadillac Ranch, which you'll find on the second CD of The River. This is, in many ways, the easiest of the four tunes that we've looked at in this mini-series. Although it's the fastest, in terms of rhythm, the rhythm is just a straight eighth note pulse. And note-wise, it's a very simple three-chord progression that lasts over 8 bars and then just repeats throughout the tune. There's no modulation from that, there's no bridge, there's nothing fancy, so it's very simple. And the notes that Gary Talent uses are essentially root notes. On the C and the D chords, he never strays away from the root note, and on the G, sometimes he uses a B, which we'll see in the second part of the lesson. Now, the lesson itself, I've split down into two sections. I've done a basic section, which is the kind of thing he plays as the bass comes in, and then I've done another section which you'll find underneath the sax solo later on in the tune. It's got a couple of nice little variations on, and you could perhaps have a play around and see if you can come up with some of your own little variations that work quite nicely. Just before we get going with that first section, if you're not a subscriber to my free monthly e-zine, hit the link underneath the video if you're watching on YouTube, head over to my website, subscribe to my free monthly e-zine. You also get a series of video PDF lessons as a thank you for subscribing, and the monthly e-zine itself is a video and PDF lesson which is unique to the subscribers. You can't get access to it any other way, so it's definitely worth having, and it only costs you your email address. Okay, so hit the link and do that, and we'll get on with the lesson, and we'll go and look at the first section, which is the basic section where the bass comes in. Okay, the first of those sections we're going to look at is where the bass comes into the tune. We're only going to use 4 notes. Mainly it's going to be G, the main root note, the 3rd fret of the E string, C, the 3rd fret of the A string, D, the 5th fret of the A string, and the one other note we're going to use is we're going to, in the intro, on beat 4 of the bar prior to the bass coming in, we're going to hit B at the 7th fret of the E string and slide down to bring us in. So I'll play it through the metronome and then I'll just quickly talk through the notes. Very easy. 1, 2, 3. Okay, and that's it. So, let's quickly run through it. The first 2 bars are just 8th notes in G at that 3rd fret of the E string. The 3rd bar moves to C, 3rd fret of the A string. But note that last 8th note of that 3rd bar is an anticipated G going back to the G chord, which is the 4th bar is G, and again it's all 8th notes. Very simple. 5th bar, ditto. 6th bar is also in G. It's very similar, except the last 8th note of this bar is a C, which anticipates going up to C in the 7th bar. Okay, and then the 8th bar is all C, except the last 8th note is a D, which anticipates going to D at the start of the 8th bar. Okay, and then the 8th bar is just D and G, 2 beats of each in 8th notes, so 4 notes of each, or 4 8th notes of each one. And that's it. As I said in the intro, very simple, basic line. Will get you through the entire tune if you were playing it in a live context. We're just going to go and have a look at the section, one of the sections that's in the sax solo. If you're a membership e-zine subscriber, it's section K in the PDF, and this will give you some subtle variations which you can throw in, and if you were playing this in a live context, just make it a bit more interesting. The section underneath the sax solo has got a few just minor variations in that just liven the pattern up a bit. We'll play through them. Again, I'll talk through them when we finish. 3, 4. Okay. Still very similar to what we played the first time through. The main difference is on the G patterns, we often have this pattern. Instead of playing all the way through on the roots, we often play, which is the major third, which is B, at the 2nd fret of the A string. And then the second bar, as we're going up to C, we also use that B as a leading into the anticipation of the C. So the second bar is, and then we've got the third bar, we're up to C, and again we've got that anticipated G before the G comes in on the 4th bar. Then the 4th bar, again we've got that pattern which goes to B. 5th bar the same, going to B. 6th bar, just stay on G. 7th bar is C, with that anticipation, the last 8th note of the bar, to D, then the 8th bar as before. And you can throw those variations in, maybe come up with a few subtle variations of your own, and if you're playing this in a live context, that will just give a bit of variety to the bass line.